Good morning. We want to welcome you to the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting posted for today, September the 4th, 2018. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in prayer.
Our heads, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you again today as a group of people that care about our county, our cities, and our state and our country, dear Heavenly Father. I pray that you will watch over these men that have the decision and have all the lives that live in Hidalgo County in their hands, dear Lord. I just pray that they will open their hearts, their minds, their souls to the people that they're serving, dear Heavenly Father. We just give you the glory for the day. We thank you for a beautiful day. Keep us safe. Just help everyone that is not well today, that you'll touch their bodies and heal them, dear Lord. And I just thank you for everything you do for us. All this I ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Under open forum, did anyone sign up?
Yes, sir. We do have 3 participants under open forum. I will ask the audiences, please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute left. Our first speaker is Ms. Virginia Townsend.
Good morning. I don't know whether when I think about drainage and how much it affects us, where the people put their trash, then I realize what I am concerned about definitely has something to do with drainage. I think I heard Martha or one of them speak saying if we are not satisfied with our trash pickup, our people will throw them in the drainage ditch. And we know that's true. That's what happens. So I know you all, I think some of you are meeting with the people from Loopy and Arise and putting their fears to rest, perhaps. At least I hope so. We kind of stand united with them on their concern for their colonias and concern for what happens to their trash. I really wish that in Precinct 3 we would have been able to use the property that we bought for, I think we got it for a landfill, but I guess we couldn't use it because, I know you can't answer me, Joe, but was it gas lines underneath? It was something.
Steve would know.
Anyhow, something that didn't work, and I'm sorry because that would have helped a lot. If BFI or Republic or whoever they call themselves, if they want us to use their landfill, they need to make the tipping fees so people can afford them and not make them so high. If they really care about our people and they want to fill up their landfill, they need to cooperate with the people who can afford it. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Ms. Fern McClary.
Our question, again, it's on the agenda, is about the trash. I know that over the years we have driven, especially in Precinct 1 at the time, and the ditches were full of couches and stoves and refrigerators. I have yet to figure out how they had the strength to throw them in the ditch, and then we found one where a grass farm was underwater, and it was because the drainage ditch was full of old tires. We saw them. They were just lined up for miles. So I'm hoping that your decision today will not set us back, that we'll be going back in history. Like I said, I've already got a couch on McCall Road. I found out the other day somebody, I guess, stole the mattress that was on it. It's a hide-a-bed. And it floored me. And then y'all are looking for one company. Now, when you only have one company, doesn't the prices usually go up? Whether it be a furniture store or a grocery store. If there's only one, do you think that the prices are going to stay low? So I'm hoping that you won't step on the little guys. I thought there was only 3 or 4. Virginia said there's about 10 companies that you're going to put out of business and helping one big company. And then I was also going to make the statement, the last 2 weeks I have waited to do my open forum for the county, and y'all don't start county business till 11:30 or almost 12 o'clock. So I'm going to give you a warning so the lawyer can look it up. We're going to start doing the open forum in drainage and associating it with drainage so that we're able to get the people's voice out, because it looks like that y'all are stopping one side being able to speak. So I'm hoping that y'all will do a little better on time. I know that our judges at the courthouse, we have a few that are really good and start at 8:30, and they start on time. What a concept for this commission. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Last presenter is Mr. Joe Rodriguez.
Just touch bases. It does affect, the trash is affecting the drainage, District Number 1, around the area where I live. We continuously, just not myself, but other taxpayers call Precinct 4 to take care of this situation, and it falls on deaf ears. We got numerous tires, couches, beds, just numerous things thrown out there. So, and implementing this one company and taking all those other companies out of business, I just see that it's going to escalate the problem of people throwing trash, because, you know, one company, like they say, you know, it just tends to rise in prices for the service. That's it for it. Great job, District 1. Great.
Thank you, sir.
Was that it, Buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right. On our consent agenda, any concerns?
No, sir, none that I'm aware of.
Move to approve.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 5, public hearing to discuss proposed 2018 tax rate increase. We can open up the public hearing, sir.
At this time, we're going to convene a public hearing to discuss the proposed tax rate increase for 2018.
As stated in the previous meeting that we presented, our tax rate is remaining the same at .0951.
That's what I understood. So why are we having this public hearing?
Because of the difference in the effective rate that it could be. You have to have the public hearing, 2 public hearings in a row, because of the difference in the effective rate and the actual rate itself that we're maintaining. Where we're keeping the same rate as is, .0951. The maintenance and operation is 0521, and entrance sinking fund is .0430. So
the question may be coming because at the county level, the same thing's happening, but we're not having this same type of public hearing. Can you explain the difference?
On every entity, the county or the drainage, if you go above the effective tax rate, I think it's in front of you. This year's, if you look at page number 2, the effective tax rate was .0930, and they decided to go with the same rate as last year's at .0951. As soon as you go above the 0930, then you're entitled to the 2 public hearings. On the county, it was I don't have it with me, but since you adopted the .58, the effective tax rate was higher, so we don't have to go for the public hearings. So we're okay on the county, but on this one, we have to have those 2 public hearings.
Can you explain how an effective tax rate is lower than the actual tax rate?
Well, the thing is that it all depends on the value. When the value goes up, normally the effective rate goes down. So the benchmark that we have here, in this case, is the effective rate of .0930. The rollback tax rate is .0960. So legally, you could adopt up to .0960 without having to go for any rollback. But as soon as you will go above the effective tax rate, then you're entitled to 2 public hearings.
But there is no tax increase, there's no tax change?
No.
So everything stays the same.
Well, they're keeping the same tax rate. Of course, if you go above the effective tax rate is the same amount, the tax rate that would generate the same amount of revenue as last year, pretty much. If you go a little bit above it, you're going to...
Exactly, that's the way I've always understood it. But in the county, for sure, our effective tax rate is going up because our values are going up.
Well, the effective tax rate went up on the county, but at the same time, since there's a couple of $1 billion in turfs that you're allowing, that also plays a role to where it helps the county, where the effective rate can go up because we have to put in the other turfs that you allow with every entity. Then when you put in those values, then it allows the effective tax rate to move. And this one is just pretty much just the value from this year and last year with refunds. It pretty much leaves it alone. So
in the Steve, do you keep looking at me because I'm asking county questions or what? Because it's just an example. I can ask the city of McAllen if you need me to bring up a different.
You're fine.
Okay. So in the county, if last year our tax rate was 0.58, this year it's going to be 0.58 again. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand the difference, but.
Well, we can always get together and look at it.
Okay.
You can go details in my office if you like.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Judge, you're going to need to open. You're going to need to open the public hearing, Judge.
Oh, he hasn't opened. He opened it?
I thought I had, but anyway, this time we're going to convene a public hearing. In fact, I know I did. But
I'm sorry.
You did convene it, yes.
Well, can you imagine, Commissioner, how the public feels? I know that you're saying that the tax rate is going to stay the same, but then you discussed at the last meeting that there's a bond or whatever for 3 cents, and each one of those 3 pennies was going to be $50 million. And so that would be $150 million. And I think in the advertising it shows that it's more than that. We don't quite understand how you come out with 159 or whatever. So could you explain that to the public so that they understand? Because you're saying the tax rate's not changing, but where is this money coming out of their pocket?
Sure. Thank you. Based on the existing debt that we have at the district, and the revenue that we're generating, if we were to call a bond election for approximately $40 million, we could do it without impacting our current debt service that we currently have in place. So we have enough capacity right now with the current payment structure that we have in the debt service to incur $40 million of debt without zero impact. But as was discussed with the board and as presented to the board and the public, the needs were much greater than $40 million. So therefore, we proposed $190 million, which in essence would necessitate the additional 3 cents to raise the 150 plus the 40. Now, obviously, if the bond passes in November, we're going to look at how that debt sale will be structured, and the impact could be gradual. And then that's going to be the approach. Or the first year could be half a cent or a cent that gets sold, and so forth, to be able to get ultimately the 3 cents sold will take over a period maybe 3 years or so because of the amount of work that needs to get done and the structure of the work and everything else. It takes time for acquisition, things like that. But anyway, I hope I have explained why the difference on that. So that is why.
anyone else desire to make any comments on during this public hearing? No one appears. At this time, we're going to be closing the public hearing and proceeding.
And the second public hearing will be held on September 18, 2018, here at 9 a.m. at Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, Administration Building, 100 East Cano, Edinburgh, Texas. So we'll have the second public hearing on that date. Okay?
All right, sir.
Great. Thank you, Judge. Item 6, legal representation for Hidalgo County Jurisdiction number 1. A, request approval to issue 30-day written notice to terminate the legal engagement for legal services between Allison Hall and Rodriguez and Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1.
What does that mean?
We need a motion for the...
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, request exemption from competitive bidding requirements of Texas Local Government Code 2620248 for professional service in connection with legal representation service for Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
6C, selection of the law firm of Jones, Gallagher & Key and Lozano LLP for Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 in connection with legal services with authority to negotiate letter of engagement, authorize myself, General Manager, to sign the engagement letter.
Second.
If I can make a comment, Judge, the purpose of this, what we were trying to do here is we were trying to have a firm, like a full-time firm for drainage, and then, of course, we have Atlas and Hall for county. And so this is the purpose of this exercise. Before, Atlas and Hall was somewhat of our go-to because they were also our county lawyers. So in this case, this gave us the ability to have a separate counsel for drainage district, but just to make that public.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner. Just need a vote.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yeah, you,
Judge.
it was second
Those
already.
in
Just
favor
need a vote.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7, request and approval and concurrence of proposed plant hike and bike trail regional linear park, Section 2, CSJ number 0291-02409, submitted by text and approval for Drainage District. General Manager to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 8, request and approval of change order number 1, reflecting an increase in the amount of 60,000 and 10 additional calendar days in connection with contract number CHCD1 18-002-0522, Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1, New Administration Building with Buller Construction, Inc. as recommended project engineer, Half and Associates, and approved by myself, subject to compliance with House Bill 1295 when if applicable.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 9, request approval to issue payment after review and compliance with contract term and conditions for 9A application for payment number 1 in the amount of $38,888.64 from Castle Enterprises LLC pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1-18-020-0508 Phase 3 drainage improvements.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
9B application for payment number 1 in the amount of $44,799.61 from Castle Enterprises LLC pertaining to construction contract number HGD 1-17-007-0418 Minnesota Cesar Chavez drainage improvements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 10A, request to approve exercise district option to cancel contract and work authorization of LNG Consulting Engineers, Inc. related to the provisions of construction material testing service Benitez Pump House, CACD 1-17-004-0321 contract.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
10B, request extension of competitive bidding requirements, Texas Local Government Code 2620248 for professional engineering services.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
10C, presentation of scoring gear for the purpose of ranking by the Board of Directors of the firms graded and evaluated through the district's approved pool of engineering firms for the division of construction material testing services with Benitez Pump House project. Professional Engineering Services PSI of a score of 95.66, B to Z Engineering 92.33, and Robert Kistner's 97.66. Board wish to rank as stated.
Approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Pursuant to the board approval, request authority for the Hidalgo County Drainage District 1 to negotiate a professional engineering service agreement with number 1 ranked firm of Robert Kistner, Inc. for the division of construction material testing for the Benitez Pump House project.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Request approval of work session number 1 in the amount of $34,918 for the provision of engineering service related to plan specifications, estimate, design service for RCW subdivision drainage improvement project subject to legal review and compliance with House Bill 1295.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And that, we have no close, yeah,
Move
we
to
have no
adjourn.
close time.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. What time is it?
9:55.
Okay. This time we're going to be convening a regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, posted for today, September the 4th, 2018. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you today for all the blessings that you bring us. We thank you for this county. We thank you for the people who lead it. We ask you to bless them and help them as they make decisions that affect all of us. We ask you to bless our country, bless our state, bless the people who are employed wherever trying to protect our country. And also, dear Lord, you probably think we're terribly fickle, but this time we need rain. I know sometimes we gripe because we get too much rain, but we do need rain, dear Lord. Please send it if it's your will. And we ask all these things in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Yes, sir. A consent agenda?
Yes, sir. We do have a couple of items to take out of order for consent agenda. If the court would see fit to take out of order 8A and 9A of the consent agenda.
Move for approval of consent agenda excluding 8A and 9A.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 8A, for the record, Commissioner Fuentes is abstaining and will not participate in the discussion. 8A, consent agenda. Commissioners, we are recommending approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Consent agenda item 9A will be recommending.
Yes, it'll be subject
to the
to
1295.
receipt of the 1295. That was the answer we got from Precinct 2, of which I concur.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 5A, Proclamation declaring September as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Julia?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a proclamation for your consideration and approval declaring September as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas each year pediatric cancer interrupts the childhood and limits the potential of thousands of young Americans, it's estimated that almost 16,000 of our daughters and sons under the age of 20 will be diagnosed with cancer just this year. And it remains the leading cause of disease-related death for children. This month, in honor of these young patients, their loved ones, and all of those who support them, Doctors Hospital at Renaissance Healthcare System rededicates itself to combating this devastation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby designates September as National Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month and encourages all Hidalgo County residents to join in national observations and in reaffirming our commitment to fighting childhood cancer.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Approve this 4th day of September 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 6, District Attorney's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rosalinda Cantu presenting for the District Attorney's Office. Item 6A, District Attorney Border Prosecution Grant Fund 1281. Approval to submit budget adjustment for the Border Prosecution Unit Grant number 2537807 to extend the grant period up to September 30th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 6B, the DA's Victim Coordinator and Liaison Grant, VCLG, Fund 1281. Number 1 is the approval of VCLG Grant Budget Adjustment Request Form for fiscal year 2019. contract number 1987049.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And number 2 is the approval and authorization for a county judge to sign the grant budget adjustment request form.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Constable Precinct 1.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Martin Blanco on behalf of Constable Celestino Avila. I have one item, item 7A. Constable Precinct 1, discussion, consideration, and approval to appoint Jaime Leos and Eric Cavazos as Reserve Deputy Constables by Constable Celestino Avila, Jr. Constable Precinct 1, in accordance with the Texas Local Government Code, Section 86.012.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioner. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Constable Precinct 2.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. Fernando Gaitan for Constable Martin Cantu. I have one item to present, discussion, consideration, and action to approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the United States International Boundary and Water Commission and the Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 2 Office, with authorization for the Constable Martin Cantu to execute the MOU.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Constable Precinct 5.
He is bound, he can read it.
Yes, I will. Constable Manichalat. So Constable is asking under discussion, consideration, approval for Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 5 to appoint Cesar Gutierrez as Deputy Constable as per Local Government Code Section 86.011.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Under item 10A, I do have an update on ongoing county-owned building construction, relocation, and/or renovation repair projects. Judge, Commissioners, as you're well aware, the courthouse project has commenced. There is a road sign that's been up now. This will be the second week, advising the general public, as well as everyone around the courthouse that does business, that a portion of 281 or Klausner will be shut, and it'll be closed next week. So we want to give everybody ample time or ample notice with respect to the proposed date of closure. There's also been some, it's called snow fencing, barriers that have started to be put up at the courthouse square, as well as some exit entry points that have been designated. The trolley that the commissioners have authorized with respect to getting the general public and the employees of the county when they're parking off-site commenced as a start date of Friday. It was a successful start date in the sense that it did have plenty of passengers that started out that day. And again, it started on Friday. We didn't do anything yesterday, and so it will, from this point on, until the completion of the project, we will have the trolley system. We will be monitoring the trolley system, and we will adjust accordingly with respect to issues that may or may not come up with the trolley system. There's no action under item 10A2. Item 10B, I'm going to ask Mr. Salazar to, I'm sorry, not Mr. Salazar. Item 10B is discussion and update on Hidalgo County Judicial Facilities Emergency Action Plan. Judge, Commissioners, this has been an issue that's been discussed and acted upon in prior Commissioners Court meetings. This is an update that the Hidalgo County Judicial Facilities Emergency Action Plan was submitted to the City of Edinburgh, and the City of Edinburgh has acknowledged and signed off that it is acceptable on our end. So this is more of an update to the court. Again, the City of Edinburgh has acknowledged and accepted our emergency action plan. Item C, I'm going to ask Mr. Salazar to come up to the podium. Item 10C, discussion and update regarding privatization of solid waste in Hidalgo County. Mr. Salazar.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Ray Salazar with the Budget Office.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning. On July 23rd of this year, a solid waste collection and disposal proposal was put out seeking to modify existing solid waste practices in rural Hidalgo County. On August 28th, the proposals came in, and we'll be scheduling a meeting later this week to review them with your chiefs of staff. Prior to when proposals were due, we elected to conduct a pre-bid meeting. At this meeting, several vendors attended and several questions were asked. In total, there were over 50 questions asked, which we replied to. Having all these questions also prompted us to extend the timing of the proposal due date in order to allow vendors enough time to submit their proposals. In a nutshell, we're seeking proposals to understand and evaluate the fiscal implications this service will have not only on our budget, but also its impact to the residents it will serve. The pricing of this service is one of the most critical elements of this proposal. We understand it will be a sacrifice to afford this service. Therefore, it is our intent to negotiate the lowest reasonable rate and maintain that rate for the longest period of time. Any possible rate increases will not be done arbitrarily and must be approved by this governing body. We will negotiate proposed increases against solid waste industry standards and consumer price indexes. This proposal is not new. In 2012, we evaluated a similar proposal. At that time, just like today, the biggest concern was its impact to our rural residents and its impact to small haulers. After discussions with rural residents, vendors, and the community at large, we were able to arrive at a solution and implemented the existing solid waste permit program. Although this program helped to offset expenditures, due to increased solid waste demand for services, expenditures are once again climbing, and we're once again exploring possible alternatives. In 2012, our total solid waste expenditures were $5.5 million. Today in 2017, at the end of 2017, that number was $6.3 million. This represents a 50% increase, and we anticipate it will continue to increase. According to our appraisal district numbers, we currently have over 63,000 rural households in Hidalgo County. Of this base, we estimate 30% contract with local haulers for private trash collection. Currently, 20% of this base has purchased a solid waste permit. This tells us that approximately 50% of our rural population either takes their trash to the landfills directly, burns their trash, or illegally dumps it. This is our target population. By having a more organized and unified solid waste collection system, such as the one currently being proposed, it will provide residents with a viable means of legal disposal and help to reduce the amount of illegal dumping. The threat of burning trash, its fire hazards, and potential negative impacts to human health and the environment could also be reduced through the implementation of an organized solid waste collection program. This proposal is not being evaluated due to poor service from our solid waste vendor communities. It is being evaluated on the principle of economies of scale. By possibly having one vendor service all rural Hidalgo County, we will be able to negotiate the lowest rate possible countywide. Currently, the existing open market prices fluctuate from $18 to $30 per month, and not all open market vendors offer brush collection, bulky waste, or collect scrap tires. And unfortunately, this is what ends up in our drainage ditches. These are important items residents need picked up at their homes, just like they do in the cities. And just like in the cities, solid waste collection and disposal services are paid for separately and apart from the local government's taxes. What we are proposing to do in Hidalgo County is the same thing cities and other counties are offering their residents, which is solid waste collection and disposal service to include brush, bulky waste, and scrap tires at a reasonable price. We don't want to put anyone out of business, just like the cities don't want to put anyone out of business when they provide garbage collection services internally. We, just like the cities, are not proposing to privatize any commercial services existing vendors may offer or decide to offer. That market will continue to remain open. With respect to our 13 trash collection stations throughout the county, we understand the impact and convenience they have had on rural residents, and should our governing body decide to transition, we will do so with enough time and advance notice to ensure all residents are made aware of any planned change. We will continue to have conversations with our impacted residents, vendors, and community leaders. It is our hope through this dialogue we can best arrive at a good decision. Hidalgo County is committed to evaluating the proposal submitted and evaluating its impact to all residents of Hidalgo County.
So I had asked for this item to be put on the agenda because for, I guess, the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've had the community come up and give us their opinion and based on their experience about this issue, right? And so I just wanted to highlight some of the most important things in my opinion. We have 63,000 rural households and only 12,700 have permits. That means that over 50,000 people either have curbside service or they're disposing their trash either illegally, they're burning it, who knows? But there's 50,000 people that don't have a permit with us, and I'm not going to, not a big majority of those have curbside. So there's a huge population that doesn't have anything. And so then you also look at the cost to the county. Right now, like Ray said, it's costing us between $5 million and $6 million. And every year we go to budget, and we're $5 million in the hole when we start off because we have increases in all types of expenses. So this is a big glaring item, $5.5 million. All the cities in the valley don't pay a cent for trash collection. The citizen, the household pays for trash collection. And so we're subsidizing it to the tune of $5.5 million. So when you see something that glaring, you got to find a way to try to do something that works for as many people as possible. So what we try to do is we try to come up with something similar to what cities do, which is provide trash collection at the curbside, just like a city does. And all those citizens, whether they're having hard times or good times, have to pay for trash collection. And trash is not a luxury. It's not a luxury like going to a park and paying a park fee. It's one of the most important things. I mean, you think of, water is very important, way more important than trash, obviously, but like sewer, your sewer gets paid for, it gets collected, it does in the city and in the county. And trash is right up there. It's unhealthy for somebody not to have trash collection on their own property. It affects the health of the residents around them. It affects what we find in the drainage ditches. And when we come up with a storm and everybody blames us for not having clean ditches, well, it's because of this. I mean, we have a huge issue with a lot of people not having curbside. We tried to create this permit system, hoping that would address the problem. But as the numbers point out, it's only addressed 20 to 25% of the population. By going to low bid, that gives us the best opportunity to lower the cost that we can get countywide, and that's why we did it. And we did it to look at it. We didn't say that we never said we're going to go out to bids, take the low bid, and just shove it down people's throat. It was a way to determine how much it's going to cost countywide, and then we determine whether it's a good product or not. Mom and pops don't always have the lowest price, and then they also don't provide services countywide. They're concentrating on areas that are good for them, and that's the way a business runs. What's good for that business, but that may not be what's good for the county. So we got to look at all that. But we got to also we're here to look at the numbers that we got on the low bid proposals. We're going to be considered to the mom and pops. We're going to be considered to people that are struggling through hard times. But in the cities don't ever look at, whether you're struggling or not. It's a very important function of being a resident. You have to have your trash collected, because if you don't have your trash collected, you generate trash no matter what. You're poor or rich, with a job or out of a job, you produce trash. And so we need to find the healthiest, safest way to be able to pick that up, and also the cheapest way. And so I just wanted to have Ray present, and I wanted to mention these points because for 3 or 4 weeks it's about, big county, the bad guys doing all these things wrong. Well, so we've collected some information, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to try to come up with the best proposal for all the citizens, for us that looks at a $5.5 million hit every year. And we're going to try to make the best decision for the county. It's not an action item, it's just a discussion item, but I just wanted to put those points out.
Thank you, Commissioner, for putting this on the agenda. Thank you, Ray, for all of that information. A couple of things, Ms. McClarity came up here and talked about tires in the ditches. One of the ditches that we had cleaned in one of the most affected areas in Precinct 1, from one day to the next, had about 100 tires dumped in there from a company that does tire repairs. That's one day to the next. So no matter how much maintenance we had done to that ditch before, and no matter how much cleanup we had done, we still have that issue of illegal dumping. So we're constantly fighting that battle, and I think that those are valid concerns and points that Commissioner Cantu brought up. One thing I would want to say, based on your presentation, I don't think having a contract ensures compliance. We can get the lowest price. It still doesn't mean that people are going to sign up. Even in Cameron County, where they don't have the same demographics that we do, they only have 50% participation. So I'm not sure that a great price is going to change all of that. I know that in talking to some of the trash suppliers in my area and also in some of the other precincts, have indicated that their price point is somewhere between $15 and $20 per month, and that's with curbside service. A lot of what they mentioned was that they were willing to standardize. Let's include brush. Let's include 4 tires per quarter. Let's do all of the things that we're requesting as a county. So I would say before we make any decision like this, we need to make sure that we give these mom and pops a chance to bid. A lot of the complaints that we heard was that it's just too big for the county itself. Well, maybe there's a local way to get it done, meaning that maybe we can cut it up by precinct, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the best way with respect to can we provide the same standardized service throughout the entire county. But I think it's something that we need to look at, because based on some of the information that I got from people that were trying to respond is that we had inconsistencies within the bid itself, where you contradicted one versus the other, and there was no way for somebody to be in compliance completely in this bid. So that means that we have something wrong within our own paperwork. And we have to take a look at that and make sure that it is fair and that it is competitive, and that, if mom and pops are giving $15, $20 curbside service, and we get a bid that's $25 countywide, well, I'm not sure that that's the right answer. I'm not sure that we're doing what is best for the county, and we need to look at that. So before we bring something to this court, we need to actually look at all of those different options to make sure that we are getting the service that we require to try to keep illegal dumping from happening. And if the local mom and pops can do it for $15, $20 in our area, and they can provide the level of service that we're looking for, then that's something that we need to entertain. Nothing against the big guys. I mean, this is, converse to what we're talking about. Maybe there is a better way to do it, but we need to make sure that we exhaust all of those options before we bring something here for us to vote upon.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we have a level playing field. With respect to scope of services, we want to make sure that the requirements are set by us, whether it's countywide or is it broken up. The level of service has to be the same. And that's one thing we hope to do. And we'll continue to work with your staff.
But it needs to be fair, too.
Correct.
If I may comment, there were some great comments on both Commissioner Cantu and Commissioner Fuentes. The issue isn't the customer that's buying our permits. They're doing what they got to do to dispose of trash as accordingly as possible. The issue we're having is with the 50,000 people that don't have that easy access. And there's no perfect system in this. I've been here for 8 years and with the county for 12 to 13 years, and it's one of the things that it's probably our highest priority because it affects everything. And we've initiated everything we possibly could. The transfer stations, it was before my time, but it was developed in an essence to combat illegal dumping. Never solved the problem, and so we got to figure out. I know it's an access issue. A lot of people, because it's a mile away, 2 miles away, 5 miles away, they're going to look for the easiest way to dispose that trash. The less burdensome on them to dispose that trash is the reason why. And there are people that are real mindful of it, and there are people that are not mindful of it at all. I don't care if we go into privatizing or not go into privatizing, if we have a hybrid where we got the transfer station and within time we kind of phase them out, that's going to be good for the person that's disposing the trash, but we're still going to have the issue regarding the other people that don't elect to sign on for this privatizing contract. Again, the biggest issue that I see is the business issue, where $6.5 million and growing, every taxpayer is having to flip that bill on that. And so there's not going to be a perfect. If we're looking for the perfect, there is not going to be a perfect. As we continue to grow and the population continues to grow, we're going to have this issue over and over and over again. One of the things I'd like to consider, no matter what we do, whether we select it by precinct, county-wide, we have to figure this problem out, because we haven't cured the cancer just yet. And I don't think, maybe we can minimize it by having this access issue provided by whether it's the small mom and pop or the bigger company. To me, it's irrelevant. My issue is that people will have an access to be able to dispose their trash as accordingly as possible. And that's really the goal. Whether a small pop or a big company, or figure out the better means to an end, again, we're going to try to mitigate the problem that we're in. But it's a growing, perpetual problem that we're seeing. And I understand why this item's important. And it's a hard issue to deal with. But the end goal is very few, 50,000 out of close to 1 million people. It's an issue we have to address, and there's not going to be a home run hit on this one. We're going to figure out the best way to hit it, and I'm receptive to looking at all the issues, whether or not it was fair on the contract side as well. But we got to do something. Something has to be done. But I appreciate the participation of our local vendors. I do appreciate the concerns of our constituency. It's been our concern every single day. We deal with it every single day. Every single day we deal with what is not a fiduciary duty as a county on public roads, safe roads and all. And we got to focus on illegal dumping, not something that we create, but our residents are creating by throwing trash. So I really, the heaviest emphasis is access. Access will always be the issue. And if we make it very hard for them, they're just going to illegally dump the issue. If we make it as easy as providing a container, whether it's a small mom and pop or a big company, then I guarantee you they're going to throw it, or bulky trash, or tires, and all that. So we got to figure that out right there, regardless of what we do. But I'm in. It's something we have to cure.
I have 5 collection sites in Precinct 1. So accessibility is a little bit different in my precinct versus the others. And at $25 on a permit per quarter, that's $8.33 a month. I'm not sure that anybody's going to come in lower than that. And even with that price point, it's still a challenge to try to get people to come in and buy the permit to bring their trash and dump it at one of our sites. And that includes being able to dump anywhere within the county.
Yeah.
You know, because your sites are available to anybody that buys a permit in my area as well. So it's, you know, I agree with you that I'm not sure that there's a perfect answer for this, because at $8.33 a month,
I agree with you guys, Commissioner, Precinct 1, Precinct 2, Precinct 4. I have the same problem in Precinct 3. I mean, I get pictures every day on my phone, people cleaning, the guys are cleaning out roads and this and that. And, it's not fair, because in my personal business, I got a bill sitting in my office for over $8,000 that I have to dispose, that I disposed from tires last week. And it's not fair that people out there are just throwing the trash in their drain ditches. Of course, we got a landfill. It's going to be closing up pretty soon. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. The collection station fixed to open up some more. And it's one of those deals that keeps going and going. And I've always said maybe we can break it out into precincts or even phases for those mom and pop outfits, that are out there. But I agree with you guys on this, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with it, and that's the way it's going to be. Thanks.
One other point. It's kind of like the lighting deal. In cities, there's lighting in every subdivision because it's easy for the AEPs of the world to collect. In this case, in cities, you can very easily collect trash in the water bill, but we don't have water bills, so we're always up against that legislatively, and that's why we're not able to do something for everybody. And that's why it makes it so much more difficult for us. But at least we got to try, right? So we put all this information together, we look at it, and we decide what's in the best interest for everybody. And if we have to do something legislatively so that we have everybody doing what they're supposed to do, because people generate trash, and it's not fair for all the other people that pay around them to have to live with other people's trash in their property, other people's trash in the drain ditches, in the roadside ditches. I met with some people Friday, and most of the complaints were, I clean my trash, all my neighbors don't. I have all my neighbors' trash blowing into my house. And so that's a major concern from the people. And obviously cost is very important. And so we'll do the best we can.
That is a health issue, not just a
Sure.
health and safety issue, because of the bacteria and all the stuff that grows. I'm sure that Eddie could expand upon how that's a danger to our area. But obviously we need to do something.
Right. Well, thank you for your presentation, Ray.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. And, with all the comments that have been stated, they will be duly noted, and we will be moving around those parameters. But we can't stress access, affordability, awareness, enforcement. These are all the things necessary in order to have a good, strong, solid waste plan, solid waste program, and we hope to continue working with you and your staffs to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, sir. Judge, Commissioners, the next agenda item is 9D, Approve for the county judge to sign certificate for Clifton Higher Education Facilities Finance Corporation Education Revenue and Refunding Bonds, Idea Public Schools, Series 2018, solely for the purpose of satisfying the requirements of Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code. Judge Commissioners, this item has come up before from other entities or other school entities. Again, this is a IRS requirement. This does not impact the residents of the county in any shape or form from a cost standpoint. So I am asking the court to take action.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, next item 11A and 11B, the requesting no action at this time.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County Health Human Services. Item 12A. Good morning, sir. Item 12A, requesting approval to accept Texas Health and Human Services Commission contract number 2016-003931, amendment number 1. The purpose of the amendment is to extend the contract term from state fiscal year 2019, defined as September 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019, and to add $30,535 on the program budget.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2, requesting approval for the county judge to e-sign the contract amendment.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 3 is requesting approval of the certification of revenue as approved by county auditor in the amount of $30,535.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 4, requesting approval to appropriate the budget in the amount of $30,535.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So with your permission, item 12B, requesting approval to accept the Texas Health and Human Services Commission contract number 2016-003894, amendment number 1. The purpose of the amendment is to extend the contract term from state fiscal year 2019, defined as September 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019, and to add $144,029 to the program budget.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2 is requesting approval of the county judge to e-sign the contract amendment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 3, requesting approval of the certification of revenues approved by county auditor.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And on that item, sir, I just want to, for the record, to approve by county auditor the amount of $144,029. I'm sorry, I didn't read the whole thing on the second page.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Requesting approval to appropriate the budget in the amount of $144,029.
Move approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Sir, under item C and D, there is no action unless there's any questions on C and D.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Item 13, emergency management.
Good morning, Judge Commissioner Ricardo Saldaña, Office of Emergency Management. Discussion and consideration of approval of the Hidalgo County Emergency Management Office to appoint David Alberto Champion as a volunteer under the Hidalgo County Office of Emergency Management for the period of September 4th through December 31st of 2018.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Item 14.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Under item 14A, it's the 2019 Community Service Block Grant Community Action Plan and Budget. Judge, I'd need for you to open a public hearing regarding the proposed 2019 CSBG cap plan and budget.
All right. At this time, we're going to convene a public hearing concerning the proposed 2019 CSBG cap plan and budget. Is there anyone here who desires to make any comments on this matter?
I did a participation form, but since it's public, did you look up the backup on this? I showed Bodley earlier. We lease a building for a lot of money. You divide that, I believe we helped the individuals about $6,000 one time you talked about. So how much could that go into that lease amount Do we not have a building that we could house them in? We've been paying a lot of lease, a lot of rent for this building. You're building all these new buildings and stuff. Have you considered about moving this department into another building? So once again, I am very thankful that they helped that individual during the flooding, and how many more that we could help if we had extra money there. Do you see the amount?
Anyone else? And at this time, we're going to be closing the public hearing and moving on to item 14A2.
Just as a highlight, Judge, I just wanted to, the bottom line is we use the same figure. The 2019 figure is the same as the previous year, $1.678 million. We anticipate that it'll be around that. The appropriation hasn't come out of Congress yet. The biggest deviation here is about a $3,000 slide in one of the salaries for one of the positions, and that's more to put us in line with what the county pays in this particular slot. But other than that, it's very close to the 2018 budget. So I'll take item 2 is discussion, consideration, and action regarding the adoption of the 2019 CSBG plan and budget with authorization for Judge Ramon Garcia and Jaime Longoria to sign any and all pertinent documents as per recommendation by the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency Advisory Board.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 15, our Head Start.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
The first item on applications, approval of children's applications for program year 2018-2019. That's normally under consent agenda, and somehow it got placed in the regular agenda, but that's a routine action.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next one is discussion to approval to include high-income children in designated areas. This year, several factors have entered into the picture, and we found the need to include high-income children. There's 29 throughout the county, charter school opening, school districts going full-time 4-year-old, adding 3-year-old programs. The fact that we are limited in our transportation also impacts our program. And so in instances, and it didn't happen until the first day of school, where we found the need to do that, they're scattered in different parts. So according to our application, we're able to go as much as 10% high income. And it's only 29 out of, it's like less than 1%.
So all the people all the kids that qualified under the
have been, yes.
They were accepted first.
Yes, that's by design and by criteria that you have approved before. They go first. Anytime they go first.
So all of those were accepted before
yes,
they opened this?
Yes.
Okay. And you were able to fill in all the slots?
Yes. What we found is that last year when at the end of May, we had all the slots filled and we had almost 500 children in the waiting list. We come back and they don't come back. They signed, forms that tell us that they're coming back, and then they found reasons why not. And perfect example is if you have a school district that opened a 4-year-old program, the family is going to a particular campus, they find it more convenient to take that 4-year-old to that campus than to keep that 4-year-old with Head Start. It's just a matter of finances, and the travel that the parents would have to do. Yes.
Judge, Commissioners, as well as there is a public participation form, there is a question that's being asked with respect to the high income.
Mm-hmm.
What's the definition, dollar amount to be included in high income children designated areas? So,
right now, it's at any amount of money that the application comes in first. It goes. We are looking at the.
Is there a CAFR that identifies? I'm not a CAFR. I'm sorry, CFR.
For low income?
No, that identifies
high income. No, it just says above the minimum amount that we have.
Which is at this point?
For a family of 8, it's $55,000. Okay.
Household income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What we are planning to do, of course, is have, more recruiting days. We used to have 2. We cut it down to 1, and so we'll be able to look at that.
Okay. And again, my apologies. I said CAFR. I didn't mean CAFR. I mean CFR.
Yes.
Okay. Move for approval.
Yes.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 16, our auditor.
Good morning, Linda Fong for the Auditor's Office. Item 16A, discussion, consideration, and approval for the County Auditor's Office to conduct an audit of the Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Report prepared by Hidalgo County District Attorney's Office for fiscal year 2018, pursuant to Chapter 59 Asset Forfeiture Report requirements.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 16B1, approval of 2018 certification of new sources of revenues. As part of the process of estimating available resources for the new year, we're projecting additional revenues for this year, 2018. For the general fund, there's an additional $844,128.01 of new revenue sources. For special revenue funds, there's $232,337.84 of new revenue sources. For debt service funds, there's $511,171.40 of new revenue sources. And for the proprietary funds, there's $493,903.92 of new revenue sources.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 16B2, presentation of the 2019 Statement of Estimated Available Resources. The statement is attached to Agenda Quick, and let me just give you some highlights. Estimated available resources include both projected ending fund balances for year 2018 and revenue projections for year 2019. For the general fund, the 2018 projected ending unassigned fund balance is $38,159,279. This amount includes $844,128.01 of new revenue sources, which we just approved to certify. If these revenues are appropriated, projected ending unassigned fund balance will decrease to $37,315,151. The 2018 projected ending unassigned fund balance for the general fund represents 18% of currently appropriated expenditures and transfers out. This percent will decrease if the Commissioners Court appropriates the new sources of revenue or uses unassigned fund balance to balance the 2019 budget. Estimated revenues for year 2019 for the general fund, excluding property taxes and other financing sources, are $30,142,935. The 2019 revenue projections do not include estimates for the sanitation program permit fees due to the possible privatization of the program, but we can certify if we do continue to collect in 2019. In addition, we left the estimated collection rate of 95% the same as the prior year. If the county adopts a 58-cent tax rate for year 2019, total revenues for general fund are estimated to be $206,619,514.
Do you need an approval on that?
No action.
Yes, action, please.
You need action on it?
Yes, can you please?
On that one?
It says presentation.
It does say presentation, but if you can accept it.
Can we bring that back next week? Would that be a problem?
No, that's fine.
And reward the agenda?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 17, Precinct 3.
Good morning. Texas AgriLife, 1286. Approval of the certification as certified by the County Auditor.
Move for approval.
Need a second?
I'm sorry.
Need a second.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Number 2, approval of 2018 appropriation funds in the amount of $30,000.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 18, our Budget Office.
Good morning, Judge Commissioner. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget and Management. Item 18A is ratification of signed First Amendment to the 7th Maintenance Grant Contract for fiscal year 2018. This is for the JAG grant.
Yes, sir.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18A2, A, discussion, consideration, and action to enter into the Texas Vine Annual Maintenance Grant Contract for fiscal year 2019 with the Office of the Attorney General of Texas and authorization for county judge to electronically sign the required documents.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Items 18A2, B, and C. is approval of certification of revenue as certified by the county auditor and appropriation of those funds.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18B1, discussion, consideration, and approval of an order authorizing the establishment of streetlights along county roads located in Southsides Village.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18B2, discussion, consideration, and approval of an order authorizing the establishment of streetlights along county roads located in Road 1 or 2.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18B3, requesting approval of correction to subdivision name from Presidio Estates 3 to Presidio Estates for previously approved agenda item AI number 66164, which was item 26C6 on last week's agenda.
Second.
All-
What precinct is that on?
I would need to get that information back. I don't.
Anybody know?
Presidio, probably precinct 1.
I made it, please.
Presidio Estates, is that precinct 1?
Precinct 1.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18C, discussion, consideration, and approval to abate Hidalgo County, Urban County, prior year accounts receivable in the amount of $182.93.
Approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18D1, A and B is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor and appropriation of those funds in the amount of $61,758.13.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 18D2 is approval of 2018 appropriation of funds in the amount of $91,370.69. This is for elections contract programming.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marty.
Yes, sir. If I can just hand this out before I get started, I'll give you all the time to, even though this was uploaded onto the agenda, just in the event you haven't been able to see it.
Okay.
It's on the section 125.
Is that item E countywide, Ms. Marty?
Yes.
Do you take that at first?
If you wish,
Okay.
or they can have a chance to
No, well-
review.
You were passing it out. Then I just want to place on the record that item 19E, 1A through D, Commissioner Fuentes will be abstaining and will not be participating in any discussion and/or action.
So we're going to E, Marty?
If you'd like.
We're going to take item E out of order.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Did
this
you want
is,
us to give us about a couple minutes so they can
Certainly.
review?
Yes.
Because I know this was uploaded
We
late.
tried to make it easy for you to review.
Okay.
They are in the order that the item actually is posted, so that you can see on the grid, to the bottom left hand of each grid, you have the apparent top grade scorers with the agents. You're going to notice that in the listed products, there's a little asterisk by two of them. Those are the two that we will need direction from the court because they are duplicate proposals.
On which two?
It'll be the disability and the whole life. If you look at the cover.
And can this board choose from the two that
I
two
came
that have time?
prepared. I came prepared because discussions were had prior to this on either.
Can you answer my question, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Can we choose between the two?
Yes, I came prepared
Okay.
with drawing of lots, if that's.
What's your
would-
recommendation?
Well, you all had discussed with me.
That's
the
why
poss-
that's why I wanted you to answer the question, Marty. Can you please answer the question?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I just want this board to know that it has that opportunity.
Yes, and I was going to discuss both options.
But you could just say yes or no. on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, so do you want me to proceed?
Sure.
Okay. Going to item E. This is presentation of the scoring and evaluation grids for the purposes of ranking for award. It probably most likely would be award because these are products that we're buying. Of the responses received in connection with the request for proposals for Section 125 voluntary insurance products and COBRA administration services for Hidalgo County, including all funding sources, programs, agencies, and entities. So you've got the grid in front of you. Starting off with accidental plan. This is award of the Section 125 voluntary insurance products and COBRA administration services for Hidalgo County, including all funding sources. 1, accidental plan. If you go to your first sheet, the apparent top 3 are MetLife with a score of 83.89. That's Alamo Insurance. Aflac at 68, Bob Trevino. And Aetna at 67.78, Alamo Insurance. Do you want to take each one up at a time?
What is it? No. Talk to me again.
So we're going to have, I think on most of them, we're going to have a high score.
Right.
When are we going to decide what we do on a tie? Because I know we have a couple of ties.
Exactly. Those are the 2 that have asterisks on.
But do you want to decide what we're going to do on a tie now? Or do
well, as soon as we get to it, you decide what you want to do. I would rather get to the awards and get those out of the way.
Well, why don't you, when you get to the one that has a tie, give us our options.
The 2 options, yes, sir.
No, our options on how we can choose.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so the first one, if the court agrees, we'll go with the high scorer of 83.89. That's MetLife Alamo Insurance. I need action on that.
That's the highest, so we'll move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next one is cancer. You're going to see the apparent top 3, Guardian at 64 points, Alamo Insurance, Sun Life 57.11, Puro Aseguro, and then 3 is Bay Bridge 41 with Puro Aseguro. And they both partnered with other agents.
That's on cancer?
That's on the cancer plan.
Who's the highest?
Alamo Insurance, Guardian is the carrier, 64 points.
Alamo Insurance. Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next one is your critical illness plan. The top 3, MetLife 84.11, Alamo Insurance, Aetna 68.89, Bob Trevino, and Unum 64.89. One was 68.89, Unum is 64.89, multiple agents. So you want to go with the 84.11, Alamo Insurance, MetLife?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, here's where we go with the very first one, which is the disability plan. The 2 options, which I think the court can consider, is either we draw lots because they're exactly the same plan, which we had already verified through the carrier. They submitted the same plans with different agents. Or the court had discussed in previous meetings of having the carrier decide the preferred agent. It's up to you.
That's 2 options. The third option is that we can choose. That's why I asked the question. You just said 2 options, and you didn't include the one that I asked.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I thought
Marty, I'm
I apologize.
You as much as I can.
I'm sorry. You mean just decide which one of the 2 agents which one of the 2 proposals?
Yeah, and if we have that option, before I go to my next point, do we have that option?
I don't know that you have because you've got exactly 2 exact scores.
That's why I asked you the very first.
I apologize. I did not understand the question.
Can we let the agent? The company.
I mean, that was discussed. It was never.
So we don't
decided.
have now. Can Steve chime in on this, or do we have the option to pick?
I'll defer to Mr. Crane.
If you have tie bids, it's usually drawing of lots.
But can we select? You see this across the board, school districts.
Yeah, they
select.
We have architects, we have lawyers, we have all types of things that we choose.
Well,
first of all, I just want to know what the options are. Okay. And usually, and what we've done in the past, those aren't options. That's not correct.
That's correct. You're correct there. I would defer to Mr. Crane because
If the bids are identical.
the proposals were identical.
If the proposals are identical, then the statute says, just as in bids, if there are two bids and they're identical, you draw lots.
Let's draw lots.
Okay, here's disability. Who wants to be?
Those fingers are too big, Commissioner.
How many in there?
There's only two because they're exact.
Commissioner, if you want all the way.
Nah, you can't see it.
Now, just before you read that name, just for the record, the one you drew is going to be
This
the
one.
awardee.
We're going to select.
Right, just want to make that for the record.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and a little, Cuellar and Associates.
And this is Puro Aseguro
Yeah.
with, in partnership with Salazar. So that would be the selected one.
And which underwriter was that? The same, right?
They're the same one that
Okay.
I'll give you.
So I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, let's go to the next one, which is dental. Let's see. Dental
Emeritus.
term life. I'm sorry, I have it. Okay, that's right. Okay, we go. Yes. The three apparent high scorers are Emeritus, 96.78, Alamo Insurance. MetLife, 92.44, Alamo Insurance. Delta Dental, 85.44, Puro Seguro, partnered with Salazar.
Move for approval.
For the highest, right? Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next one is Vision. We have Emeritus at 93.78, Alamo Insurance. MetLife, 92.89, Alamo Insurance. Abacus, 90.56, Alamo Insurance. Emeritus is the higher score.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Now we're going to go to the next one that's a duplicate, which is Whole Life. And let me get my envelope here.
Seems like everybody's scared, like I say.
And for the record, the one you're drawing,
Will be the selected.
the one that Commissioner Flores is drawing,
Yeah.
will be the selected vendor.
Oh, no wonder it has a staple on it.
Yeah. Alamo Insurance.
Salazar Insurance Group.
So
So we
Alamo
have
Insurance is a,
make a motion to approve.
Second.
those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, the last one is Term Life. Term Life. That one we're recommending to reject the sole response due to no competition and no current plan to compare with.
Ms. Marty, briefly, can you explain how people were chosen, how they were graded to the grades that they got?
Okay, there was
The main points of interest that people were voting on?
they were voting against the current plans that we have. Could it be any better, or would it be enriched as it was? And so the group went through every proposal.
And price was also part of that?
And price is also one of the, in other words, can the employee, the eligible employee, get what's the best product they're getting for the amount of money they're paying, the best benefits, which the court has always been most interested in, to give those advantages to the employees. Okay? Then this is item C. This is authority to finalize and negotiate if required.
Before we move on, item 8, term life plan, was reject sole response.
Correct.
I think we need a motion
Oh,
to
yes.
reject the sole response.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, then C would be authority to purchase or negotiate the agreements for the voluntary insurance products that were awarded, including those drawn by lots.
Move for approval.
That's C.
That's C. D is requesting authority
Those
to...
in favor, say aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
D is requesting authority to reject the proposals received for COBRA administration services due to benefits offered not meeting current services. In other words, that goes to your original question, Commissioner. It didn't come even close to what we have as a basis.
So it'll be all right to make a motion then.
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So should we go back to the beginning? We're going to 19A1. This is requesting approval and of amendment on the memorandum of understanding between Hidalgo County and the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council in connection with shoal services as previously approved by Commissioners Court on July 31st, provided through Valley Metro pending final review and approved by legal counsel. This morning, there was a concern that it wasn't attached this morning. Honorable Victor Garza has submitted that. They are the drafters, therefore it's their approval of the final form. Could I have some action?
So moved.
Approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B1,
Ms.
precinct 4.
Marty,
Yes.
that was the one for the amendment to the MOU with the...
Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council on the
There
shoal
was a
service.
public participation forum. In essence, the question was with respect to the county contribution. Again, this is a county endeavor to assist all the residents because of the where they're going to be parking, as well as our valued employees. And again, there is monies out there that were able to be tapped into via this MOU, where it did reduce the county's burden. And so I don't know what, Ms. Fern, at the end of the day, there was an adjustment made with respect to the drivers, number of drivers. And so I will get you what the final number is, and then I'll disclose it next week as well. But I'll get you what that final number is with respect to the county's match to this project. Thank you.
Okay, going on to item B1, precinct 4, pursuant to the exiting elected official expenditure policy, requesting approval of expenditure and acceptance of approval of supplemental 2 work authorization 5, submitted by B to Z for the purposes of modifying Exhibit B1 scope of work and Exhibit D1 fee proposal with an increase of $48,681.12 to original proposal of $49,974.50, totaling $98,655.62 in connection with the project-specific construction of Memorial Park Phase 1 in Hidalgo County Precinct 4.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is acceptance for Health and Human Services Department, acceptance and approval of the final negotiated contract with HEB Extra Advantage on online pharmacy billing services with Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
D1 for Sheriff's Office, acceptance and approval of change order number 1 with a decrease of $7,498.62 from original contract price of $173,738, totaling $166,239.38 as submitted and recommended by Project Engineer Half and Associates for Hunt and Woodruff Construction Company, LLC, in connection with the ongoing project conversion of 3 existing cells into padded security cells at the Hidalgo County Jail.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting an exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code Section 262.024A4, a professional service.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of those firms that were nominated by the court and taken from the pool of architectural firms. They were the Warren Group with a total score of 95, Gomez Mendez and Science a score of 91, ERO Architects 92, and Half and Associates 94. Does the court wish to rank them in the order that would be Warren Group 1, Half 2, ERO 3, and Gomez Mendez and Science 4?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is authority for the purchasing department to negotiate, commencing with the number 1 ranked firm of the Warren Group.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Going on to, bear with me here a minute, EF. Or is that it? Am I done?
That's it, Marty.
I'm done.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, under open forum?
Judge,
Yes.
and we are going to get, I promise, Ms. Firm, we are going to get to open forum. I just need 30 seconds. Judge, Commissioners, if you could please recess Commissioners Court, open up the workshop, recess the workshop, and go back to Commissioners Court.
At this time, we're going to be recessing our County Commissioners Court meeting. And at this time, we're going to be convening our budget workshop, which was posted for today at 11 o'clock, September the 4th, 2018. We have, the entire court being present, we will be convening the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court workshop.
If we could recess and go back to...
We will recess the workshop, and this time we're going to be convening our Hidalgo County Commissioners Court workshop. Reconvening. Go ahead, City.
Afternoon, Commissioners. I left the packet right there on the dais for this workshop number 4. Basically, as y'all heard earlier today, the Auditor's Office gave us estimated revenues of $206.6 million, which is a little bit about 1.4 million less than what we had presented to the court last week in workshop number 3. The main reason for that difference in variance is, as Ms. Fong mentioned, she did not estimate any revenues for sanitation permit sales, which on average are about $1.4 million. I think for 2018 she had estimated $1,370,000 in sanitation permit sales. They did not certify anything for next fiscal year in the anticipation that we would have some type of transfer from the transfer stations to the rural pickup, privatization of the rural pickup. So she did mention that, again, if the court decides to keep all the transfer stations and we continue with the sales of the permits, then they would come back and certify that revenue mid-year. So that mainly the occurrence for that. Again, she mentioned also we have roughly about $6.8 million in revenues in excess of what she estimated last year, and which has sort of been the trend over the last couple of years, and that's what we expect that moving forward as well. Again, court had already come to agreement as far as given direction on the personnel actions on a lot of these items that we have on here. One of the things that we did request from the court when we did the budget preparation directives was to not have any personnel items being requested from the departments. However, we did, as management, look at the different departments based on meetings that we've had with various departments and the needs that did arise. So we are making some recommendations on page 4 through 9 as far as personnel recommendations for the court to consider. I know the court wants me to go through each of them. or if y'all like time to review that,
We'll be having another workshop.
we can have another workshop next week as well.
What you guys evaluate and what we try to evaluate up here is when we need new positions because of there's new services or there's added services or, maybe something has grown and they need to add some people. So that's what I look at. And so I guess starting with the elections department, can you tell me the purpose of adding the position?
Of adding the chief deputy?
Yes.
The adding of chief deputy, again, as Mr. Ramon had mentioned, there's a lot of work that goes into running the elections, and she has not had a right-hand person to be able to assist her. So basically, they have various election sites, so she's being pulled every which way. So we are recommending that we would create that position. We have talked with elections as well as far as trying to modify the rates that we charge the different entities to try to offset some of this cost. And we are working with elections to have a proposal for the court, one that would try to offset at least half of this cost and yet still not be a big burden to the cities and the schools, over just one fiscal year. We're trying to see if we can sort of phase that in and make sure that position sort of pays for itself.
Because the only opportunities to do stuff like that is elections, or that I know of, elections and tax office, where we do stuff for other entities, and sometimes we don't pass the cost to them, even though it's running up our costs.
Correct.
So, I mean, $64,000 over all the entities that we serve. We should be able to spread some of that cost.
Correct, and we feel it's going to be just a few $1,000s for each of the entities. Again, it would be a larger amount for the larger entities since they have more polling sites and more locations and more constituents that voters, registered voters. That we need to tend to, but on average, I think it was roughly about 2,000, 2,500 for each of the entities on an annual basis.
And if I can just respond as far as added duties, there are, Commissioner Hidalgo, I don't think you were here. I don't think you were here when I was talking to the court about the added responsibilities that I now have including and not limited to the cybersecurity. I'm having to work now with Homeland Security, having to work with the Attorney Generals on various entities. I've always worked with the FBI and all those, but I find myself now having to oversee so much more and put so much more into play that right now, for example, I'm trying to get ready for the contracts and trying to get ready for a possible 20 additional elections to run this November. What do? I cannot switch myself off.
The only reason I brought it up, because, like I said, elections and tax office does provide services for other entities, and sometimes we're very reluctant to raise some of those costs, even though we can spread it throughout the whole county. That's all. That's the reason I'm
yes,
sure
sir.
that
And we
there's
have
more
had
services.
meetings. I know that those of you that are not you, Mr. Cruz, and has always helped me bring to court possibilities of raising the fees. In fact, we've had meetings on that. Again, understanding that this court has always been very compassionate about the little entities that maybe cannot afford as much. So we do work at being fair across the board, always setting the cost to the entities, because we cannot charge by law more than what we spend. And so we're very, very cost conscious, and we have to use third-party vendors and make sure that we're not making more than what we're spending. But again, there are so many more responsibilities. And as I was talking to the court last week or the week before, this is my 10th year anniversary with the county, and I've never had a right hand. I've always done it all myself, and I've always been able to, except that now with this additional responsibility, I've got to put plans in place. I've got to do assessments. I've got to work with all these entities. And at the end of the day, I've run out of day. So that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
I have a question on IT, Sergio.
Yes.
Cybersecurity, we're looking at bringing in 2 individuals. Obviously, this is a big concern for everybody, including us, right? That somebody breaks in, hacks our system, puts us out of business for a couple weeks or a month, or or does ask for a ransom or something. Would this be sufficient to be able to guard against something like that?
We discussed that last week. I met with Mr. Guerra and Mr. Ziguero, and then I met with the chiefs of staff as well regarding these positions. we've talked about, trying to maybe bring in a consultant or maybe trying to do some interlocal with either Bexar County or City of McAllen or a larger entity that can sort of guide us as far as on the IT spectrum and see what they would recommend. We had talked about maybe combining those two positions into just one position, but we left it, we wanted to make sure we put at least a placeholder, not knowing whether we needed one or two. We wanted to make sure we have at least that money within the budget to be able to have the court to have that option, whether to create one position at a higher level pay that would, depending on the qualifications of that individual. So that's what we included. We decided to leave it as just two positions for now.
I like the placeholder, but we need to reach out and get the pros and cons of doing. We talked about an independent company working not as employees and providing the service to us, or having our own employees. But I don't want to just fill in the spot and not have cybersecurity protection that we need.
Yeah, one of the things as far as maybe contracting that out and seeing what kind of insurances they have to protect us, as far as damages incurred and things like that. If we have an employee, it falls entirely on us.
Right.
Maybe reach out to Harris County and see what they do. I mean, they're a huge county, not only in the state of Texas, but in the entire United States. And see if there's something that they do that's a little bit different.
Yeah, and that was the idea. To try to get one of those larger entities.
We all agree on that.
Try to get one of those larger entities to maybe do some type of peer review of our county, of our IT department, and sort of bring back recommendations, best practices. We just wanted to make sure we have those two. Cybersecurity is one of the biggest things that we probably have to face now. So we wanted to make sure we included something in the budget for that. And between now and the adoption, we might be able to get some better direction and hopefully just stay within this allotted funds. The other item that we had already given the recommendation.
I'm trying to be patient to see if anybody else. I have more.
Okay.
But I'm trying to see if anybody else has more. The facilities management. What are we looking at there?
Commissioner, with respect to facilities management, that's something that we had discussed, or I had discussed some time ago with respect to the future, today, tomorrow, and given that we're building the courthouse, we're looking for an engineer-type individual to fill that slot, because as we go forth, any new structures that we're putting up are with the latest and greatest, and we need to make sure that we have an individual that has the ability to understand the infrastructure that's being placed against these, or that we're building, one, and two, assess our current buildings. I had tried, or we had started a project. It started out with Precinct 4, and it turned into more of a countywide, which was a countywide assessment of all our facilities with respect to the structure itself. I know that we've done, and we have a database that tells us the type of structure we have, the type of roof system it has, so forth and so on. But what we're also trying to put together or put in that database is ticklers that tells us, you know what, you have a HVAC system that is now 17 years old. It's been maintained, but it's at the end of its cycle. You need to start planning to replace that. The same thing with our aging buildings and our electricity, our control panels, to make sure that we have the right type of control panel that'll sustain the load. We have an issue right now. Daniel and his staff, with respect to our electricians, have done a good job at the courthouse, but we do know that we have a load issue at the courthouse. That's apparent when we do have colder winters than we're used to, and we have individuals that will start using an individual little heater type unit at their desk. I don't know how many times that Daniel gets called, I get called, that we lost power at the courthouse. Turns out the load was too much, and so we started going out that says you cannot be using the heaters. Same thing happened with just a regular fan to help with airflow, because they think it's a little too warm. It puts a load. So that's the whole purpose behind the.
You're requiring the position for the person to have an engineering
No,
license?
no, we're looking for an engineering type individual,
I got you.
somebody that's got, obviously, we're not going to say that we're going to limit it to someone with an engineering degree. We're looking for someone, and there's individuals out in the market that are degreed, not necessarily maybe in engineering, but within that field.
Like a program manager?
Exactly. They're able to
construction
understand.
specialist?
Exactly, Commissioner.
And
So-
somebody that's savvy with that database, because it's too big of an operation, you need to have it on a database so you can be able to check.
Right. Mr. Alvarez at
certain
the office
things.
has started or is augmenting and continuing to add to that database. But obviously, again, Commissioner, we're looking for the future. We're looking for tomorrow, the next day.
Efficiencies, in other words, you might have a building that has a huge electrical bill opposed to an efficient building, air quality, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Commissioners, also, we do have 4 buildings that will be under construction within the next
18 months or so.
12 to 18 months. I mean, that adding to the assets that the county already has. So that position is greatly needed.
What about the county judge? What is that?
It's just I think it's a title change.
We have some title change,
Not
and then
title change. Title change is a specialist, but it says communication director, and that was created.
What is that about, Jetty?
on that one, we're just looking at augmenting just the communication of the county and having, sort of a, I know we have a public affairs director that deals with a lot of this, but then this one would sort of be like the person that goes out and represents the judge for important meetings.
Okay.
And again, these are just recommendations that we have. I mean, we can go back and make changes as needed. Judge Commissioner, we do have under the health department, we did have a request for an epidemiologist 3 that we're trying to work with Eddie. We're still going to be having meetings this week, so that might be something that we might bring in. I know Mr. Olivares had mentioned he needs another epidemiologist, but we're going to see if we can work with him and possibly have maybe some reclassifications of his current staff. They currently have 4 epidemiologists, and we want to see if maybe we can do something there as opposed to creating something new. So we'll probably bring back those to court. I think that one would be in the tune of roughly about $18,000, that change, if we do the reclassifications as opposed to doing a new position. The new position that they're requesting is going to be at $69,500. So we're trying to see if we can do something from within his staff to propose to the court. I just wanted to bring that up.
You think that you freed up enough money under your budget to be able to analyze some of those expenses that are reoccurring and going up every year?
Yes, we looked as well. I mean, we tried to do everything in-house. I mean, we do know that we're going to require somebody to be working with the courts, which is something that really we haven't delved too much into, and then the jail as well, since they're both tied to each other. And so I feel that we can accomplish what the directive that you had given within those funds.
The only thing I had brought up to your budget, Judge and Commissioners, was that we have some items like housing that continue to go up every year, a couple $1 million a year, and so that we would have somebody that would just focus on that and be able to audit those numbers and be able to come up with ideas of how to keep that down with more than pay for itself.
Yeah. That happens at the juvenile department as well, or at least from
Yes.
All the housing.
Coordination of housing from the sheriff to.
And getting inmates in and out of the jail quicker, have somebody just specifically looking at that, trying to keep those costs down.
Yeah, I know that they just started a pilot program, the Indigent Defense Office, along with IT, adult probation, the jail, and I believe one of the courts, I forgot the court that's going to be trying to lead that effort is County Court Law number 8, that's going to be trying to do some type of fast track program as well, augmenting to that program, just different case types. And of course, the DA's office as well is involved in that.
Is that it?
Again, these items that we presented would add roughly about $1.4 million to the budget that we had already discussed. Given the auditor's revenue estimates, that would put us at roughly about $6.7 million negative. However, we feel that we should be able to manage the budget again, as the auditor again did not include $1.4 million in sanitation permit revenue. That if we continue with the transfer stations, would be included in here. Again, if for any reason we decide to try to, phase those out, there should be again reduced expenditures within the sanitation program, as the sanitation program was fully budgeted for the next fiscal year. We did not make any plans as far as reducing staff or reducing any of the disposal costs or anything like that. We kept the same 2018 budget for sanitation. So we feel either way, whichever way the court would lead to be going, whether to continue or to try to phase out the transfer stations, we should be able to see that $1.4 million either in additional revenue or in reduced expenses.
What's the next one, Sergio? The page 8.
Page 8 are also personnel requests, personnel recommendations that we're providing to the court. These are just from other special purpose funds, not impacting the general fund.
Oh, okay.
So these already have the funding within their respective funds.
Gotcha.
Again, lastly, we turn to page 9. We do have, sort of the fund balance for the county. We're expected, if we were to adopt the budget with the $6.7 million deficit, we would expect to have an unassigned fund balance at the end of this year of $31.4 million, which equates to roughly about 14.7 of the proposed budget. So we're still within our range of the 10 to 15% on the higher end. And again, if you look at page 11, or actually page 12, we do have a 5-year history of what the auditor estimates to the actual, and then projections for next fiscal year. So we do anticipate to be able to make up roughly about $5.1 million just in revenues that the auditor usually underestimates.
And that doesn't include the savings that we'll incur just from...
Correct, some of the programs and things like that.
Vacancies, things like that. So
That's correct.
That salary sweeps and everything?
That does not take into account any salary sweeps. That'll be in addition to these estimated revenues.
So
those will be reduced expenses.
This is a worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario is we end up even at the end of the next fiscal year and end up with the same fund balance.
But historically, we've been able to cover a shortfall like this.
Yes.
With all the transactions, increase in revenue, salary sweeps, all the savings from
correct.
different...
And if for any reason we do see that whatever revenues maybe are not going to hit that $6 million on average that usually they underestimate, we can also recommend to the court emergency actions such as hiring freeze and things of that nature that are just immediate for that time and period and would yield additional savings. However, we feel that won't possibly be the case.
And actually, Commissioner, we still have that. I mean, we still work the 90-day rolling freeze. But we do look at the positions on a case-by-case basis, especially in the area of health and safety. But for the most part, we are adhering to 90-day rolling freeze.
Judge Commissioners, unless you all have any other questions, that's all the information I had to present.
Okay. Is that it, Sergio?
That is it, Judge.
Any concerns, any questions?
No, sir.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Proceed to reconvene our regular meeting. And we're on item number 20, open forum.
Okay, so we do have 5 participants. I will ask the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There's a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there's 1 minute. Our first presenter is Ms. Fern McClary.
Yes, y'all are doing good on time today. This was my speech or whatever on August the 28th. It is difficult to understand the actions of this commission. You have spent 3 years trying to finalize a step-and-grade salary plan, and yet at each meeting, modifications are made. Last 2 weeks, or a couple of weeks ago, we attended a grievance committee meeting for the purpose of listening to 2 JPs requesting more money. The consensus was that 2 out of 9 justices are doing most of the work. If this is true, y'all need to be checking in your precincts to see why your JP is not doing the same amount of work as all the others. The primary reason for the request seemed to be that other department heads have received substantial increases. The justices seem to resent that they are making the same salary as the constables. We have been here long enough. We know that when the JP salaries goes up, here comes the constables, and they will be paid the same. So we know how the game is played. Justices receive an annual salary of about $85,000. They have a $10,000 in travel. They have health and life insurance, vacations, retirement, and finally they set their own working hours. Now, that's the kind of job I like. Now, they wanted $5,000 more, so that would take the $10,000 to $15,000 for travel, plus they wanted a $10,000 for more salary, so that would make it $95,000. And then they found out at the meeting they were also going to get a 3.5% COLA. So could you please name any private sector job that this is comparable to? Instead of increasing all salaries, how about requiring their time and travel documentation? Do not automatically provide a travel allowance, but publish their performance records. How many cases do they conduct? How much money do they collect? And the salary increase should be based on performance that exceeds the average, not just because someone is making more. We'd like y'all to look at that. We'd like you to put it back so the public could see how much money and what they're doing. I would also like I said, these are in your precinct. These are elected officials. But the problem is, if they're not doing their job, we need to check out why not. And I do have asked Valdi to check on someone. I've had a man with a health issue request something from the county, so I'm hoping that y'all will look into it and try to help this individual. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Ms. Virginia Townsend.
Okay, I hear Baldy say every week, please respect the speaker's time. I kind of need you all to respect the people's time and start on time. When it says 9 o'clock for drainage, I would love to see it started at 9 o'clock, just once. It's not just that. It puts the commissioner's court later most of the time. Today wasn't so bad. But then you've got a lot of professionals from your county sitting here waiting, and it goes into the late. I don't know. I just think it's kind of rude. If it's going to be 9:30 to start drainage, fine. Start it at 9:30. But whatever it says on the agenda, to me, that's when it should start. It's just professional. I don't know. It's just better. I won't make a big deal out of it, except I just sit here thinking, I wonder why they do that always, come late. Don't know. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Ms. Juliana Mares.
Good morning, judges and commissioners. My name is Juliana Mares, and I come here with my neighbors on behalf of Community Roadrunner 2 to thank you all for especially Commissioner Eddie Cantu for approving the funds for public lighting. Thank you very much. Buenos días, jueces y señor juez y comisionados. Mi nombre es Juliana y vengo acompañada con mis vecinos representando a la la colonia Roadrunner 2. Más queremos agradecerle por la asistencia y haber aprobado los fondos para alumbrado público. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next presenter is Mr. Joe Rodriguez.
This is on the trash and other things. If you would hold public forums so the public can actually come and voice their opinions on the privatization of the trash pickup, it'd be great. To where you just not certain people can make it here and you hear us, so the whole community of Hidalgo County can actually voice their opinion, whether they're pro or con against it. There's still a lack of transparency, integrity, and justice in Precinct 4. I have not received any reply on my outcome on the grievance that I put against a gentleman that blatantly and physically intimidated me off of property, of county property. If I were to do that, I would have been arrested. He did not. It's blatant disregard towards the corruption that's going on from district judges, DAs, your municipal judges, it's ridiculous. I mean, where's the transparency, on this? So the people are getting tired of it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. The last presenter is Ms. Paula Villanueva.
Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm just here to say thank you. I know that things have changed in regards to the trash. Everything has been shifting, from May 14th to now. I want to say thank you. I know that after I talked to you, Commissioner Fuentes, I'm more at ease. I feel like things are working out and we'll be able to continue with our business. So I just want to say thank you. I know that one of the things that I was thinking that the county can consider is maybe that when people apply for a building permit, they can also apply for a garbage container or a big container so that they can put in all their debris. Once they apply for that building permit, they have to apply and get a container that will be serve the purpose of putting all their trash instead of all that trash ending up at the transfer stations or in ditches. And I think that maybe the county can consider is tire shops, enforce rules on tire shops so they can properly dispose of all the tires, just like the health has regulations on restaurants and businesses. They can also impose some rules and regulations on the tire shops, because those are the people that are really adding to the drainage. It's not the normal people that have one car or two vehicles. It's the owners of these tire shops. And the last thing that if this thing goes through, we're willing to provide the same services as a big company. Where we can invest in a brush truck so that we can provide the bulky services and the heavy items and also the tire disposal. We've never done it before, but I know it's just logistics, just get the truck, get the driver, and we can start doing that. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge, Commissioners, we do have executive session or closed session.
All right. Pursuant to 551-071 and 072 of the Texas Government Code, I need a motion to proceed to executive session.
So ruled.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will be in executive session. Okay, we are back in open session. Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Item 23, open session, real estate acquisition appropriation for same. Item A, there's no action to be taken. Item B, pending potential litigation, there's no action to be taken. Item C, C0152-16-C, Santiago Zavala versus County of Hidalgo, proceed as directed. And item D, claim of Beatriz Sandoval, Judge Commissioners. I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $80.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
There's no need to go back into close or open. We have adjournment.
Move approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Are we having a meeting next week, Bud?
Yes, sir. We will be having a meeting as a result of, well, not as a result. We're going to have a meeting for the balance of September, and then we will have the on-off.